How is everyone doing today? In this video, we are going to talk about the localization adjustment that dropped a couple days ago. Thankfully, this is going to be hopefully the last time that it takes me a couple of days to cover news or cover content on Heaven Burns Red, because my schedule is looking better now. So that means hopefully I can start making the videos as soon as they need to happen, or at least one day away from when it was posted. So it's not going to be as bad as it usually was. So thank you guys for sticking it out. But we are going to be seeing one of the bigger localization adjustments that we are going to get for Heaven Burns Red, and that is going to start with story events, and not only that, the characters tied to those story events, which is really cool. So the first thing we need to look at is, of course, 28 Meters of Eternity, which is going to be dropping in early September. Early September is going to be Mia and Chia. Now, Mia and Chia, I've already talked about them a little bit in recent videos, talking about what they do. Chia is going to be an overall ice buffer with party ice attack up, crit damage up for ice, and then not only that, she's also going to be giving herself an additional turn and self crit rate up. And the reason that she's giving herself an additional turn is because she's going to be able to halve her SP consumption on her EX. So you're technically using only 12 SP if I'm not wrong, which is 7 and 5. I think that's 12. I'm not gonna math right now, but I think that's 12. And she's just gonna have a really nice overall buff for the ice team. Now, realistically, you don't necessarily need this Chia at the current moment, because there will be a better buffer in the future, and it's not that far off, if I'm not wrong, with when it comes to the ice team. You have a lot of different options when it comes to buffing out the ice team, whether they are self-sustaining, like something like Kanzaki, who's able to give herself ice attack up, and then you can start putting on general buffers, like having something like Sutama. You have characters like Saika 2, you have characters like Mari 2. There's a lot of really great crit damage, crit rate buffers that are going to be able to help you out with the score battle and Anachrony, all those other modes. Just because I feel like at this moment, the need for these specific ice buffs at the current moment, especially when she's going to get replaced very soon, is a little bit less worth of your cores, unless you really like Chia, of course. But it's not necessarily a character that you 100% need. The next thing to talk about is Mia. Now, Mia is a little bit of a different one. Now, she's going to be an ice debuffer, but she does have some things that are going to make her pretty valuable for her other variants, which is going to be this one common skill, which is self attack up and defense effect boost. Gives you skill attack up, which of course you're just going to be doing more damage, but the main thing is that you're going to be able to boost debuff effects inflicted by self by 20%. Now, the reason why this is so good is because it's a 5 SP skill. It's pretty cheap in all honesty, but not only that, you are also helping other characters like Mia SS1, and more importantly, Mia SS2. And SS2, when you're giving the common skill that's going to allow you to go ahead and give 20% extra debuff, this is going to help out Fragile. This is going to help out defense down from her EX skill. This is not only going to do that, but it's also going to help out Light Mia with her a single target attack down and also defense down with her Light Zone, which is really nice. She only gets stronger as time goes by when she gets her mastery skill, where I think she gets 1 SP after using a skill, if I'm not wrong. It's either that or she minuses 1 SP on the skills that she has after she uses something. But overall, Mia is going to be a really high investment character, where you get a lot of the moving parts from all her SSs, and then once you have all of them, she's just the absolute monster. So realistically, if you are going to run Mia, or you already have Mia SS2 and SS1, more likely SS2, because this is where the most of the benefit comes from, then you could look into going for this Mia SS3, because being able to grab this debuff effects inflicted by self is 20% boosted. You're going to be helping massively the amount of extra defense down that you're adding, and Fragile that they have for 2 turns, allowing you to do some heavy damage pretty easily with not only this common skill, but also the EX of the SS2. So this is a really good character, but in my honest opinion, you don't have to pull on these characters. This is more so to help out and make it a little bit stronger, not necessarily a need. This isn't literally SS2 Mia, where she has these really good debuffs that she can inflict to an enemy. Is literally just the common skill that's going to be really nice. And of course, you could really like the defense down that she's giving AoE to ice and regular defense down, but they are pretty low in number, 10 to 20% and 20 to 30%. Then you also get to get this benefit of having a recovery effect down, which is pretty nice as well. So first banner, not necessarily the most craziest thing in the world, but can add some slight upgrades to your ice team for sure, especially when it comes to this Mia. The SS3 Mia could help out general characters with her SS2, so that is something to keep in mind. The next thing to talk about is going to be the case of Irene Red Main, which of course means that we're going to be getting a banner with Irene and Veridica. Now, I've already talked about these characters as well. Veridica, not necessarily the most needed thing in the world. She gives a heal on her EX. You can use it anytime you want necessarily because she can go into the negatives. And then she also gives a party debuff guard, so it is really nice to have. And other than that, that's pretty much it. Whenever your DP is at 100%, you raise the defense frontline up by 15%, which is actually pretty good. She's a really good healer, not necessarily the most needed thing in the world, like I said before, but this is a pretty nice character to have if you so happen to pull her out of nowhere, or maybe as you're trying to pull for Irene. This is a really nice character because, of course, being able to have a heal that gives 150% over heal is pretty freaking nice, especially when you don't have to wait until you hit 11 SP. You literally can use it whenever you want going into the negatives, because sometimes you have to do that. So that's pretty cool. And then you get that party debuff guard, which is going to help out in a bunch of different cases. Other than that, we are going to be looking at the prize of the banner, which a lot of people are going to be looking for those that don't necessarily want to build element teams, for those that don't want to pull for all the missing parts of an element team. This character is basically for you because she will be having a piercing mechanic. Not only that, she's also dispelling 3 buffs from the hit targets. So if they want to give themselves defense up, attack up, all that different type of stuff, you can take that away with this Irene, and it's also a negative skill, so you can go into the negatives with this skill. This one is going to allow you to do pierce crit, same thing like Inori for the most part. She's going to be really nice when it comes to the pierce meta, and like I said, with the future update that JP had, pierce ends up being a little stronger after the update because it pulls those elemental teams a little bit lower to the ground. And it, you know, those pierce crit teams which were already to the ground, or when I say to the ground, not necessarily bad, I'm just saying in terms of comparison, while elemental teams were right here and pierce teams might be down here but able to like clear content but not have the highest numbers, since the elemental teams get nerfed because of all of the buff changes, it gets brought a little bit lower, a little bit closer to pierce teams. So investing in pierce characters honestly isn't the worst thing in the world, and can be maybe a little bit more beneficial to your courts to build more pierce teams, because they use a little bit more generic characters rather than the very niche supportive characters that only help out one element. You can use characters that can help out anybody, like Sutama, Mari, SS2, all those different characters that are just general use debuffs and buffs. Not only that, you also have your own move that gives you attack up and crit damage, which is really cool. This is going to allow you to, of course, buff yourself so you don't necessarily have to rely on other characters. But of course, for the most part, if you can have someone that gives you crit rate, then you can necessarily get all the buffs yourself, plus that one extra character, and you'll be pretty good to go. For their passive, which is actually kind of insane, after removing buffs from an enemy, you give your frontline 2 SP, which I think is absolutely wild. And then the limit break passive for level 3 is going to be give yourself crit damage, which is really cool. This Irene is going to be a really good character for most. If you aren't already building a pretty high investment elemental team, you don't have Inori, this Irene is pretty much going to be a really good character to bring out, just because not only are you going to be getting a really nice healer, which isn't needed, but she's just nice to have. This Irene is going to be able to just one-shot content whenever you need her to, or is able to get pretty dang close to doing so. So this Irene is going to be a pretty big target for a lot of different people and a bunch of their different accounts. And then the next one is going to be Bad Girls Destruction, and this one is going to be Maki and also Chiroru. Now, the problem with these two characters, I really don't have to talk about much when it comes to these two, because their kit is really slow. And there's nothing wrong with the team being slow. The necessary problem is, if they're slow, there have to be a reason why they're slow, and they do give quite a bit of reason why they're slow. 18 SP, which is an insane, and I mean insane amount of how do I say it, cost of how much a skill is cost. This one gives single target defense down, single target DP defense down, and single target thunder defense down. Not only that, they're for 2 turns each. That's pretty dang big, and not only that, she hits pretty dang effing hard. That's really good for the most part, because you're seeing a lot of really great stuff. The problem is this is 18 SP. This is dang near all of the SP you can even hold on one singular character. And then she can give herself frontline attack up plus self-charge. Is really cool. The problem is, again, she is using 18 SP. She does give an extra SP to herself if she has charge on her, which is really cool. But then this requires you to use 7 SP before you can build up 18 SP. So this is just a really slow character. Pretty cool as a debuffer slash breaker. Problem is, this is a crap ton, I mean insane amount of SP that you need to basically get one attack done. So she isn't necessarily the most important thing in the world. Chiroru's kind of the same thing. She's going to be using 12 SP for her EX skill, giving party defense up, which is really nice, and party DP regen, which is pretty cool too, and a charge. The problem is, this is only if you're light or the team is light. And you also have 2 turns of single target attack down, 12 SP. These are just really expensive for what they give, and they're really niche in what they give. Party defense up is always really nice, but you're doing regen, and this is something that you would pop preactively than reactively. Usually you want something like a heal or something really big when it comes to something like immunity, like angel wings from Aoi, or you're looking for something like revivifying light, I forgot what it's called, which is Tama's EX skill, or something big. You want something that's going to heal your DP up to basically max, or over heal you to a point where you're not going to be taking that much damage. Being able to give not only 12 SP, you're going to be getting those party defense up, which is really nice, and party DP regen. The problem is you're gonna get that defense up, which is really good, but you're already down like maybe, let's say, 3 turns, 4 turns before you get 12 SP. Potentially you're getting charge, you're getting defense up, and you're getting the regen. The problem with the regen is that you don't get that immediately. You gotta go to the next turn, then go to the next turn, then go to the next turn, and that gives the enemy a chance to do double attacks, buff themselves, all the different type of stuff, and it really isn't as important, especially when it's not only that, but it's also geared only towards light, which is nothing wrong with niche specific characters. The problem is what she's giving with the amount of SP that she's using isn't really worth it. On her limit break passive, she is going to be able to give a debuff guard to the party whenever she uses her EX skill, but they have to be light. So yeah, this banner is not that great. They're really slow, and they're not really worth what they give with the SP that they're using. So usually if you want something like 18 SP, you want something like Irene, you want something like Inori, where you're basically going to one-shot whatever enemy you possibly want in the game. Although these debuffs look really nice, having every type of defense down, plus it being 2 turns, and she's able to hit pretty hard, it all sounds really good, but it's 18 SP, which is pretty costly. You're not going to be able to spam this out pretty quickly, and it doesn't have nearly the amount of universal application that something like Irene and Inori can possibly do. So that is going to be a little bit of a rip for these two when it comes to being on the banner. The next one is going to be the Kind Angel of Death, and that is going to be Isuzu and Minori. Now Isuzu is going to be a light debuffer slash buffer, because she will be able to give the premium zone 8 turns with 80%. She's also able to give the AoE light defense down and AoE defense down, but these numbers are pretty low. The main thing you want from this Isuzu is going to be her common skill, because she will be able to give 1 turn AoE fragile, which is something that you could put on top of the SS2 Isuzu, if I'm not wrong, which is the Onsen Isuzu, which actually would be pretty good. Or not only that, but you could also use it on SS1 Isuzu for the fire debuffer as well. So there are some really cool things that you can do with that, and not only that, this also stops bosses from locking your party, which is pretty cool too. And this is applied every turn, so there's no way that they can do that to you, which is a really cool thing to have. Minori is going to be a really weird character. She's going to erase your overdrive gauge to give you buffs, and also she can pass around SP, which is really interesting. Whenever she's in the front line, she gives herself 10% overdrive, which is really cool. Usually that's reserved to a limit break 3 or limit break 1 passive, but no, that's her regular passive, and that's because she's going to use the overdrive gauge as her skill points, and she's going to pass them around. So the way she does it is that her EX skill 0 SP, but it takes up 50% overdrive gauge. You're able to give the party crit rate up and crit damage up. With her common skill, when she has 6 SP, you're able to just pass that around to an ally, which is really, really cool. So you're basically hyper funneling a bunch of her SP into someone else using the overdrive gauge as a currency, which realistically in certain situations this is going to be really good, but later down the line, especially even in the JP update, overdrive becomes a lot more beneficial than it is right now in global, because it will give you a bigger buff and let you do more damage the higher overdrive you're using. So a character like this wouldn't really be a great future investment. So that's one thing I have to say about Minori. When it comes to Isuzu, like I said, the main thing about her is going to be her common skill that she can give to other characters. But this isn't something that you 100% need as a player. You would rather hit things like having Irene or potentially Mia SS3 to be able to help out certain occasions, but specifically Irene would be one of the bigger targets to look for when it comes to all the characters that are going to be coming throughout this update, and of course throughout this adjustment. But the next banner is going to be round happiness filled with wishes, and this is going to be Ichigo and also Sumo. I keep overshooting tabs and then I spoil what I'm going to talk about later. But the next one is going to be Ichigo and Sumomo. Ichigo is going to be a light attacker, and she's going to be a token based attacker, which could be pretty cool for the future, with the light team being a token based team in the future. Issue is there's just many other characters that do a lot better in that situation than this Ichigo, so I don't necessarily think that Ichigo is going to be the most important thing in the world. She is going to be pretty strong, of course, as all token characters are. You can't really knock a token character because they always will have that damage dealt buff for every token that they have, and she's going to have a common skill that she's going to get tokens, and not only that, she also is going to have tokens given to her whenever she attacks. So this is something to make note of, that token characters are always strong, but the problem is there's going to be a lot of light token characters that come out in the future. Some that have already passed, like what's her name? Oh my lord, I'm forgetting. It's been a minute. I'm forgetting. But we have Yuina as one, who's a really good character that gets the benefit of tokens with the future Yuina, that you can give yourself tokens, so that's something. There's also, what is her name? Oh my god, I'm absolutely forgetting. Oh my lord, that's really bad. I'm forgetting characters now. That's terrible. The character is going to be Monaka. That's her name. Oh my god, my bad. A super brain fart. Monaka is a really crazy token character with not only this SS2 being really good for light. He's gonna be one of the better characters. But you could also use SS3. So there's just really great light characters that come down the line that kind of take Ichigo's place. So it's not necessarily the most important thing in the world. But the next one is going to be Sumomo. Sumomo is also going to be a pretty high in priority character. You either are going to want Sumomo, which is going to take quite a bit till we get there, or you're going to want Irene. Because Irene, as we already said, she has the pierce crit. She's able to take buffs away from the enemy. While someone like Sumomo, she's able to do the same exact thing. She gives herself an attack up. She's able to do an attack which is going to have pierce crit on it, which is really nice. And not only that, you also get an HP damage modifier, which in turn technically is going to be a little bit better than Irene, because Irene's going to be a DP damage modifier while Sumomo's going to be HP. And not only that, she's going to give herself a turn of defense down, which realistically isn't the most important thing in the world to look at. Another thing that's really nice is going to be that she's going to have a passive skill that recovers a skill use whenever you defeat an enemy. So I'm assuming this allows you to use more of her EX skill, which is really cool. But the way this is phrased is really weird to me. Except on skill use recovery, which I'm assuming is like a move that can give other moves more of the, what is it called, uses, and then limited use skills. I'm assuming this is tied to orbs. Because as you may know, orbs can only be used once. There's a very big exception when that is tied towards the JP units in the future. But I'm assuming this is targeted towards orbs, and I'm assuming this is targeted towards other skill use recovery moves. So this is going to allow her to use her EX skill more, which is really nice. If I am wrong, let me know please, and then I will correct that in the comments. But this is going to be just another pierce crit character. Again, a character that you would want to pull if you are going to go for a more general team rather than having an elemental team. Having high invested elemental teams, you need a lot of niche characters that only work for that one team, while Sumomo and Irene only need the general debuffs and buffs. So this means only crit rate, only crit damage, having defense down, having mind's eye, having fragile. You only need those 5 technically. Oh, and hit count, of course. While for the elemental teams, you need ice attack up, ice crit damage up, ice crit rate up, crit rate up, crit damage up, attack up, hit count, field. You need a lot more buffs to help you out. Oh, not only that, mind's eye, fragile, the defense down. There's just so many different buffs that you need to account for in the elemental team that Pierce teams don't have to worry about, plus the addition of the JP stuff that's coming down in the future. So these Pierce crit units are going to be really important down the line. I probably will make another video talking about them once they get a little bit closer, but some of these guys are a little far off. Now, the last thing to talk about, because yes, we still need to talk about the actual localization update, because holy crap, this is just a big update. I am sorry this video is so long, but I'm trying to get everything out that I can. With this update in this timeline, we have skipped 2 very pivotal units, which I'm really question marking where they're going to be placed at, and that is going to be Ruka. We've already passed her quite a bit actually, and this is going to be a pretty big character because if all things stay the way they are, she will be part of the new SS rarity that will be in JP, that is in JP right now, which has its pros and cons. Doesn't necessarily change the value of the unit entirely, but it does add some value to her on top of what she already had, and this is a pretty great unit as well. We have Unison Ruka, and not only that, Unison Yuina. We are basically in Unison Yuina range with these last bit of banners that were shown to us to come out in the future. So we are currently due 2 Unison units, which actually is kind of insane, and both these guys are pretty powerful in their own means, and of course they will get their own video once they are confirmed to come out. But other than talking about Ruka and Yuina, let's go ahead and finally finish the localization update itself. One of the benefits we're going to be seeing is that we're going to get an SS Memoria selection login bonus. During the fall campaign, log in for 3 days to receive an SS Memoria selection ticket, which allows you to choose an SS Memoria for free from the newly introduced feature Platinum Recruitment. That I 100% want to figure out what that's supposed to mean. It seems like a wish list type of banner that we might be getting, which would be really cool, and it seems like it might feature some of the more newer units that we're going to be looking at coming into the future with these banners that I've already listed, so that seems really, really nice. Daily free recruitment, which is of course another pull, you know, when you log in type of thing, which is really nice. Fall campaign login bonus, log in daily to get 3,000 quartz and 1 SS guarantee ticket, so that's more SS's going into our accounts, which is absolutely amazing. Upgrade helper, power training campaign, complete missions for materials, and then event catch-up mission. Earn SS guaranteed recruitment script via the mission. Collect enough to perform an SS guaranteed recruitment. So that's even more SS's coming our way. Oh my lord. New premium SS guaranteed wishlist ticket recruitment. In October, premium SS guaranteed scripts will also be applicable in the premium SS guaranteed wishlist ticket recruitment for Memorias. They're just letting us choose whatever we want now at this point. Wow, this is actually kind of insane to look at. New weekly missions reward added. Weekly missions rewards will now include new SS guaranteed recruitment scripts. Collect enough to perform an SS guaranteed recruitment. So this means every week when you do those missions, I'm assuming they're going to give us 1 or 2 scripts a week, which is actually insane because that's going to allow you to build up your account by an insane amount by the time we hit some of these crazier characters in the future, which is really, really nice. More memorias in feature platinum recruitment. We will reduce the number of time limited recruitments and add more memorias in the feature platinum pool, allowing more memorias remain permanently available in the featured platinum pool even after the event ends. I'm assuming this is talking about Unison, Yuina, and Ruka potentially, because there's no other time limited recruitments besides Angel Beats, which are the collab characters, and Unison characters. Unison characters are the only ones that are limited time as well. So what they might be doing is they might be putting them either on the same banner, or they might be putting them on a banner with another character, or just overall just allowing them to be on the platinum recruitment pool after they leave, so that they're not necessarily limited anymore, which would actually be kind of insane if that's the case. The next page is going to be gameplay updates, which is yippee. We're gonna get a title badge. Now this is something that I've seen talked about, but I don't necessarily understand its full context. If anybody knows more about the badge system, please comment that below. If I'm not already going to make a comment and include yours in it, I will pin you in the top of the comment section so that everybody knows. But you're going to be able to earn title badges by meeting character specific conditions. Is this the mastery stuff? Probably not. It might be. I don't know for sure. Unlock rewards like ports and memorial reports. Increase your character's title rank for greater benefits. I know this gives buffs to characters, if I'm not wrong, by completing certain things. We're going to see Astrum Season 3, which I love Astrum, one of the best modes in the game. Clock Tower Expansion. We're going to see Irene and Sierra. Oh, that's actually pretty big. I will make a video about that. Irene is going to get Pierce Crit, if I'm not wrong, which is her SS1. That's Pierce Crit for SS1 Irene, if I'm not wrong. And Sierra gets that really nice crit damage and crit rate buff. I think that's how it works. Not 100% sure which one Sierra gets, but I know the Sierra one's a pretty good buff for those that have her. So we are going to talk about that in its own video. I have a lot of videos to talk about now. It's kind of exciting to me, I'm not going to lie. More orb skill training mastery. This is 100% something you should be spamming. When they started, you should be spamming that so heavily when you get the chance. And then the exchange limit for Eternal Daphne will be increased by 1 in the premium token exchange. So that's all really good stuff. Adjustments to event schedule. Due to adjustments in operational planning, we will deliver the game's compelling narrative to players at an accelerated pace while maintaining version parity. We will be implementing and adjusting to our event and recruitment schedules. This includes moderately increasing the update frequency for story content and recruitment banners. So they are going to be speeding up the banners and story, I guess, even more so than they have already, which is actually kind of wild. To ensure these adjustments are implemented smoothly, we'll be enhancing our reward structure. So they're going to be giving us more rewards because they're doing this, which is really great that they're compensating us for that being a little bit faster. Now, the thing about it being faster, and I'm going to try to keep this short and maybe talk about that in another video. The fact that they're going faster doesn't necessarily mean it's a little bit worse. A lot of the characters that we have right now still do well in content. But it's just that the characters that don't necessarily need a stay in a team, like something like Chia, there's even more reason to skip her because she's going to be replaced even faster. So it kind of helps you save your quartz a little bit easier when you're looking at something like it getting accelerated. We're going to be seeing SS guaranteed recruitment scripts will be added to weekly missions. We did already read that. Selected SS memorias previously available through featured or platinum recruitments will now be obtainable as free login rewards. I don't know necessarily what that's supposed to mean in its entirety, but I guess we'll see in the future. The number of time limited recruitments reduced and more memorials will be added into the featured platinum pool. So I'm assuming, like I said, characters like Yuina, characters like Ruka, Unisons, they're not going to be tied to those banners only. They might be put in the platinum pool as soon as they leave, but that is of course a hypothesis. It's very much a guess in my honest opinion, and they'll be adding additional optimizations will be made to rewards from events and the token exchange. We will continue monitoring the game's progress, progression metrics, and making further adjustments to resource distribution based on community feedback. So they're trying to make sure that we are getting compensated for what they're accelerating. So I think that's just a really good thing to note, that they are looking to give us more rewards if it's not up to what we think is fair for them moving the story and also the banners up as fast as they are, which is a really great thing overall. This is all of the localization adjustment updates. All the characters are going to be coming out. Holy crap, is this a huge text, and it's almost a 30-minute video. So if you made it to this far, tell me your favorite character in the game. I don't know, just say a favorite character in the game and tell me why, and I'll know that you made it to the end. Holy crap, this is such a long video, but thank you guys so much for watching all to the end. I have a lot of videos that we got to make, showcases to all the different types of stuff. See y'all guys in the next one, and peace.